What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. The Boys Season 5, Episode 5, one-shots just dropped, and yeah, this episode is absolute chaos. We've got shifting loyalties, major character breakdowns, and one of the most brutal endings this season has seen so far. Let's get into it, and of course, spoilers are ahead. We start off at a meeting with the Seven. That proves the messaging for Homelander's church is working. However, for Homelander, it isn't happening fast enough. This is where we transition into a spotlight-style episode, or maybe an easier way to describe it is when you have a comic book and they do a one-shot, hence the name of the episode. Anyway, we begin with Firecracker, who is really struggling to choose between a religion she wholeheartedly believed in for her entire life and the most powerful not-man in the world. Eventually, she gets a call from her pastor after his church is vandalized. At first, it feels like we might get a different side of her. Maybe even some redemption. But nope, when the church gets raided later on, Firecracker does what she does best. She spins it into a completely defamatory news story, destroying her pastor's reputation. But she does have tears in the end. She truly didn't want to do it. She is doubting what Homelander wants to become, so maybe that will lead to an epic battle between the two of them? Meanwhile, Noir is going through something weirdly human. He's trying to balance being a part of the Seven while also participating in a local theater group. Yeah, it's actually happening, and honestly, it's one of the most bizarre but fascinating subplots we've had all season. He's clearly struggling with who he is. Like, he's trying to find an identity outside of just being a weapon, and also acting like the OG Noir. But of course, this is the Boys, so it doesn't stay wholesome for long. Tensions rise, and the Deep, who has been hanging on by a thread, it seems like, all season, or maybe all show, completely loses it. However, this time it's because Noir finally stood up for himself. He kills the play's director, Adam Bork, in a moment that is both shocking and very on brand, a butthole death.
What did he say?
But it's not just about the kill. This is the Deep reasserting control, not just over the situation, but over Noir. And just like that, Noir's little attempt at normalcy, it's gone. Until next week, right? However, that wasn't the most bizarre sequence this episode. That comes from Terror's point of view. It gives us a look at a day in the life of the Boys when they don't have a big plot beat to push. There's still relationship drama and the search for V1, but the standout moment comes from our eyes on the ground. Terror gets into some chocolate, which is obviously not good for dogs. Huey helps Butcher save him, and the writers use this opportunity to show us that Butcher still has some humanity left. Butcher says he's willing to let Annie and Kimiko take the V1 once they find it, if it doesn't affect the main mission, which of course is killing Homelander. And I'm sure that this is saying that one of them will die. So who do you think it is? Who do you think has a higher chance of dying? Annie or Kimiko? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, on to Sage. She pulls Ashley aside and drops a pretty terrifying look at her plan. It basically hinges on humans and Supes destroying each other into all-out war, because she just wants the world to be quiet. And of course, Homelander has to die in this scenario because he is like a big child. The writers do some pretty clever work with Ashley, and Sage here. It's a fun few scenes. Now for Soldier Boy's point of view, Homelander and Soldier Boy team up again, and it's still one of the most uncomfortable duos to watch. They go straight to Stan Edgar because they need to find out where the V1 is. Under interrogation, Edgar gives them a lead, Mr. Marathon, which takes them to Los Angeles. We meet Marathon and his friend Mal Chemical, along with other notable actors. We also get a bajillion references to real-life actors, directors, and other famous people in this episode. It's also the Supernatural reunion episode that everyone's been waiting for. Now, don't get mad. I have not seen a second of Supernatural. Let me know if I should also in the comments below. Anyway, Marathon and Mal Chemical try to turn Soldier Boy against Homelander, and for a second, it almost works. Mal Chemical even manages to incapacitate Homelander, but they need Soldier Boy to kill him. He, however, doesn't flip with a flair of a pretty funny line, actually. Instead, he kills Malchemical without hesitation, and from there, it just spirals. During a chase, Marathon accidentally kills several celebrities, which is exactly the kind of dark, chaotic moment this show thrives on. Eventually, he gives up the info after 2 broken ankles, which, of course, you can only have 2 broken ankles, by the way, just in case you didn't know. Bombsight has V1, and just like that, Homelander kills him too. No hesitation, no second thought. Now we come back to Firecracker to bookend the episode. After everything, her doubt about Homelander finally starts to show, and that's all it takes. Homelander confronts her in her own apartment, but she doesn't stand up. She caters to his love again, maybe in the end making Homelander think he couldn't show weakness. So at the start of what promises to be more violent than ever, final couple episodes, he kills her. Just like that, no speech, no drama, just gone by the wing of an eagle. Look, this episode really sets the tone for the rest of the season. Lines are being drawn, people are starting to question things, and Homelander, he's tightening his grip on everything. Overall, I actually really enjoyed this episode. It was a fresh spin of storytelling and hopefully leads to full steam ahead for the finale couple episodes. I also don't think that I feel bad for Firecracker. She just was not a nice character. She didn't do good things, and she had a chance to stand up to Homelander in the end, but she did not. But what do you think of episode 5? Because, of course, those are just my thoughts. Did that ending catch you off guard, or was this format not your style? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. And now that you've got some time, you can go refill that popcorn bucket.